What about now? Y'all got me? My bad. My pod. We're gonna start that over. What's going on, everybody? It is Mimosa Monday. My apologies if you're tuning in and you didn't get the sound. So let me just go ahead and start that from the top. Yeah, it's Mimosa Monday, people. Appreciate you guys. Happy New Year. Sorry I didn't get to do my birthday stream. There's actually a really good reason I didn't get to do it. It's because my wife surprised me with a bunch of stuff that I was not expecting. I wasn't actually going to do anything on my birthday. I was going to go bowling. I love bowling. With the family. We were going to maybe go out to get something to eat after that, but I usually don't do a bunch of stuff for my birthday. But my wife had other plans. She actually got me a birthday cake with Guardians of the Galaxy theme, specifically Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which everybody named Mama knows. My favorite movie ever. She had to actually go out of her way to buy all the pieces separate and the lettering in English and send it to the place customized. She started the process a month and a half or so in advance to make sure that it got done on time. Then she did a surprise barbecue for me, which I wasn't expecting, to invite all of our family and friends to the barbecue. I just was not expecting any of that. So that's why I had planned on doing a birthday stream just to hang out with you guys. And instead she was like, "Oh, you can't do that. We got plans." So I was like, "Oh, okay." My bad. Yo, so that was dope. So I just chilled for New Year's. I hope you guys had a great New Year's and New Year's Eve. I hope you guys had a great Christmas or happy holidays. It was it was dope. It was dope. This is actually the first time that all of the family was together for the holidays for various complicated reasons, but basically this is the first time. So other than Lachis being born, Levi my oldest was here with his mom and dad, with his brother. It was just a very dope experience. We had the Brazilian family come over. It was great, man. It was great. It was wholesome. But my birthday was dope because my wife just kind of went over the top. I just was not expecting it. And I don't even know when she did it. Honestly, I don't know when she had the time to do it. So she got me a Guardians of the Galaxy. She got a custom-made Guardians of the Galaxy coffee mug for me. Y'all. Dog. I was like, yo, this is great. This is dope. Because I'm not a complicated person, bro. I don't like expensive stuff. I'm like a utility kind of guy. Give me something that I can use, or give me something that shows that you've been paying attention. And because I don't know, I'm gonna give y'all some free game, ladies. There is nothing in the world for a man anyway, especially a man who's considered the provider of the family. Nothing will get you in his good graces more than showing that you pay attention to the shit that he loves. Because most men in most situations, if they feel like there's a fault in the relationship, is generally they feel like whatever their interests are, or whatever they like, or whatever they're going through isn't as important as everybody else in the family. Because the general narrative, at least in the West, has always been, you provide and you shut up, you just go on about your business, and that's it. Whereas, that's not how we operate in our family at all. And she kind of just was showing me, yeah, I'll be paying attention. And which was dope. It was dope. I had a great birthday. So, I turned 30 again for the 5th or 6th time. So it was pretty cool. With that being said, we're going to cover, it's going to be a unique Mimosa Monday because we got some stuff to cover that I don't have a choice but to cover it, because Justin Trudeau just stepped down. In many people's opinions, 8 years too late. We're going to talk about some of the conspiracies that are going on. And I say conspiracies not in an insulting sense. I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm saying because based off of what we've seen in the aftermath of this Tesla truck attack, this attack in New Orleans, Queens, whatever, the conspiracies seem to be pretty legitimate. Or at least the possibility of a conspiracy seems to be pretty legitimate. If you analyze the reactions to the aftermath, with the facts of what happened, the reactions are not matching the facts. So we got to talk about that a little bit. And later on this week, we're going to actually go into more detail about the facts and the reactions and everything like that. I can't do it today because I don't have the time to do it today. But I just want to just do the cover the surface level stuff together, so you can get a basic understanding of why of why people immediately have believed that there is some type of alternative agenda that's being pushed that probably has to do with the police state and justifying going to war with Iran and staying in Syria. So we're going to talk about that too. And yeah, and we're going to still do our Mimosa Monday thing. So if you got something to ask me, please feel free to ask. And if it's not part of the conversation we're having at the moment, I'll answer all the Mimosa Monday stuff, the rest of the Mimosa Monday stuff at the end. Yo, really quick, gotta tell you guys, I told you all that I was going to do some street interviews because a lot of people have talked to me here and on other social media platforms about how interested they are in Brazilian culture. They wanted to just hear from Brazilians about just life in Brazil, their perception of Americans, how they feel about Brazil versus America and vice versa. So I got over my anxiety. I decided to go ahead and go do it. So there will be the segments are going to be called Lost in Translation. And I went and interviewed three. Well, I guess technically it was a total of four or five people yesterday in Copacabana. And it was a really great experience, and it was awesome actually. So I'm gonna have the translations obviously in English with Portuguese subtitles also. But yeah, it was completely in Portuguese. It was kind of wild. I had a bunch of anxiety before. I generally have anxiety because of the ADHD, but like, oh man, you gotta go have this interview, and you're not gonna be able to talk the same as you would if you were speaking in English. But I realized, like, oh yeah, you actually do spend most of your day speaking in Portuguese. Why are you so nervous about that? And when we got there, it was dope. It was a really good time. So those clips will be dropping soon, and then by the end of the next couple of weeks, we're gonna have the actual full interviews posted on YouTube and Rockfin and probably Rumble also. And I'm also going to go back, not just to Copacabana, but to various places at the beginning of February, because Carnival, for those of you who don't know, or end of January, beginning of February, Carnival starts. So yeah, I'm gonna do some Carnival interviews. That's gonna be lit. And I'm gonna guarantee I'm probably not gonna be sober during those interviews. I'm just gonna go ahead, make that known right now. So first things first, man, we gotta cover this breaking news. Let me put up this article for you guys about Justin Trudeau just retiring. Well, not retiring, but resigning. I don't know. I know some people probably thinking, "It's Canada, man. Why do we care?" I'm curious because, in my opinion, whenever somebody with that much power, who seems to be virtually untouchable with everything that he does, just retires out of nowhere, I feel like it's important to cover because, like, usually you hold on to power no matter how you have to do it, right? No matter how many people hate you, no matter how many people dislike you, no matter how low your approval ratings are, you just hold on to the power. But Justin Trudeau has announced that he's not doing that. He's done. So let's look a little bit into this. This is from the Indian Express. Justin Trudeau announces resignation as PM and the head of Canada's Liberal Party. What happens now? Weeks after former ally, the New Democratic Party, threatened a no-confidence vote against the government, Trudeau announced his resignation as the Liberal Party's chief on Monday. Once the party elects a successor to the post, he will step down as the country's prime minister. Here's what to know. Amidst widespread unpopularity, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced his resignation as the country's prime minister and the head of the Liberal Party on Monday, January 6th. Guys, you got to admit, that's kind of ironic, right? It's a little ironic, right? How many people tried to take out Donald Trump because of what happened on January 6th, and the fact that they were mostly liberals that wanted to take him out. And Justin Trudeau is announcing his resignation on January 6th. And the guy that was trying to be taken out because of the actions, because of what happened and the events that took place during this day specifically, he's actually about to be reelected. That is, that's poetic. I'm not going to lie to you. This precedes a party-wide caucus slated to be held on Wednesday, according to a report in the Canadian newspaper The Globe and the Mail. He is expected to remain in the post until the party elects a successor to the top post. Addressing a press conference, he said, Canadians deserve a real choice at the next election. It has become obvious to me with the internal battles that I cannot be the one to carry the Liberal standard into the next election. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm pretty sure based off of everything that's been said, it isn't just like a Trudeau issue. I feel like their whole party has an issue. Which is, like he said, there's internal fighting going on within the party because they were prompted to lose in the next election anyway. So the current state of Canadian politics, Trudeau's Liberal government already stood on shaky ground, like I just said, having won the last election in 2021 with the support of the Jagmeet Singh-led left-wing New Democratic Party, an agreement meant to last until September 2025. Essentially, the Liberals had amassed seats just shy of the parliamentary majority to form a government, and the NDP agreed to support it through confidence motions and budget votes. In turn, the Liberal government promised to bat for the key NDP policies, such as free dental care, pharmacare legislation, and efforts to protect children, child care, and workers. However, the NDP withdrew its support from the government last September, with party leader Jagmeet Singh criticizing Trudeau for failing to effectively challenge the opposition Conservative Party. What a surprise, everybody. Another Liberal allegedly claiming to be a leftist working alongside the Conservative Party, refusing to challenge the Conservative Party instead of treating them like the adversaries they claim the Conservative Party is to the liberal wing of the government, right? Got a lot in common with the United States in that regard, huh? But shout out to whoever that guy is. I don't know much about him, I'm not going to lie, but just the fact that this leftist was willing to stand on business, okay? The fact that he was willing to, he said, nah, bro, like you said that you was going to work with us and this is what we were going to do together and this is what we were going to achieve together. And that was the deal. Well, effectively push him left, right? Once they didn't get what they were promised, he said, you got to go. Why can't we have somebody like that in Congress? Why can't we have somebody like that in government? Bernie said, push him left. Then we tried it. Then he told us, shut the hell up. And he told us that Biden's the next FDR. AOC said she was going to help push him left. We tried it. She told us, shut the hell up. Then made up a bunch of lies about Jill Stein. Then speaking at the convention, trying to convince us that they're working in the genocide. And then here we are, right? Shut up and vote for whoever the Democratic Party's put up. So like, I don't know, like I said, I don't know much about that particular party's politics, other than the fact that they are to the left of the Liberal Party. But the fact that they were willing to stand on business and like, nah, bro, we're not playing this game with y'all. Bye-bye. And if actually forced Trudeau to resign, that is how you use your power, even if you are in the minority of your government. That is how you use your power. Even the minority has power if you are willing and you know how to use it. As a lesson here. On December 20th, Singh announced that he would introduce a no confidence vote to oust the Liberals from power, making an early election imminent. Earlier in October, too, nearly 24 MPs signed a letter calling for Trudeau's resignation. The Liberals witnessed historically low approval ratings, with an Ipsos survey rating it at 33%. Jesus, y'all got out here like Congress. Behind the Conservatives, 45%. Trudeau's approval rating hit an all-time low of 26%. Ooh! Boys out here looking like Kamala. It was 26% in October 2024 from 54% in February 2021. You know, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with that. Maybe the Ukraine war, maybe genocide supporting, maybe helping or doing standing ovations for Nazis. Like, I mean, there's a whole host of reasons why his approval rating probably dropped. And people started paying attention, really, because when you look at that timeline, that's around that pandemic time where everybody started paying way more attention to their governments because of the policies the governments were forcing on people. In recent years, the Liberal Party has presided over rising political divisiveness and in inflationary pressures. A key point of contention has been the soaring housing crisis, characterized by spiraling housing prices and increasing homelessness. On December 16th, Trudeau's trusted deputy and finance minister, Chrystia Freeland, resigned from the post hours before her scheduled fall economic update to the parliament. In her Instagram resignation letter, what a time. Boy, this is I'm sorry, it's just crazy. Like, what a time we living in, bro. Motherfuckers is resigning from their political posts, federal political posts via social media. Like Joe Biden, like, yeah, man, put a letter out there. I know I said I was gonna run for president, but hey, it's ex official now. It's Facebook official. I'm dropping out. What? That's so crazy when you think about it. Like, that's the time we're living in, boy. 2025. Wow. Her resignation remarks of the latest. Her resignation marks the latest of a massive exodus in the current cabinet, which has seen 8 ministers exit in recent months. Bro, 8 ministers. You know, hey, look like Trudeau. He may not have dementia, but he getting that Biden treatment, isn't he? That's what it seems like to me. But what I'm genuinely curious about, before we switch topics, is the frustration around Trudeau that eventually caused infighting within his party. Is the frustration around Trudeau based on his inability to better the approval ratings of the overall party? Or was it genuine policy disagreements? Were there people within his party that said, you were going to govern like this? We gave you these two or 3 years. This is the excuse that you gave us. We gave you another 2 or 3 years. Then you use the pandemic as an excuse. Okay, we gave you another 2 or 3 years, and what you did was you sent money to Nazis. Then you gave Nazis a standing ovation. You supported genocide, right? Let's not talk about everything that he did during the pandemic that harmed the working class. And the inflation that they're experiencing right now, I know some people want to be like, oh, it might just be a Canada thing. No, everybody's experiencing inflation. But why is everybody experiencing inflation? Because of the actions that NATO countries have taken in Ukraine and all the money that they've been sending to not just Ukraine, but Israel as well. And people have to remember too, Trudeau, when he was first elected, was very popular amongst the Arab and the Desi community, which is largely Muslim. How do you think that's going for him right now? So I'm curious if, at least within his own party, if the infighting came because of policy disagreements or because he couldn't get the job done anymore. Like the party was suffering because of his popularity. Because the reason I'm asking is because I don't see how they win, even if Trudeau is out, if it's not policies that y'all are about to push in order to be the conservatives. Because if you remember in the article, they said he has low approval ratings. They got by the skin of their teeth in the last election, and it was looking as if this upcoming election they were going to lose again. They're going to lose. It isn't going to be to the party that they made the deal with, right? It's going to be to the conservatives. What I appreciate is the fact that leftist party that was advocating for better child care, free dental care, better rights for workers, that party did not pull that bullshit that we see AOC and obviously a lot of liberals and latte liberals, limousine leftists. They didn't pull the shit that they try to pull, which is, oh, we can't because of the conservatives. Oh, if we pull Trudeau, the conservatives are going to win. We can't. We have to get behind whoever. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter what their policies are. It doesn't matter if he ignored us. It doesn't matter if he lied to us. It doesn't matter if we made a deal and he broke it. The conservatives can't win. They're like, nah, bro, because what does it matter if the conservatives win if you're doing whatever the fuck the conservatives want? Get up out of here. It showed that minority party showed that they are not playing with y'all. They're not playing with the liberals. and they wielded their power. Because what are you going to say if you're a liberal in that particular situation, or if you're a leftist, what are you going to say? Oh man, the conservatives are going to do damage to the country. What they're trying to express is that the damage is being done already because Trudeau is doing whatever conservatives want, or at the bare minimum, not combating them when they are doing whatever they're doing. So the damage is done. So at least y'all know what they're showing is, at least y'all know next time when you make a deal with us to pass leftist policies, to pass working class policies, you're not going to be able to make up an excuse for why you broke that deal. There's nothing that you're going to be able to use politically that will deter us from standing on business. I respect it. Get on up out of here, my guy. Stepping down before Trump annexes Canada. Yeah, it's funny. There's another story that we gotta cover. We gotta cover this story. I don't know if y'all know, but Israel is they're a little on their toes, guys, because of something that happened right here in Brazil that, I'm not gonna lie, I was equally surprised about. So, generally speaking, Israel and their soldiers, basically all war criminals, they generally have been fearless. They've not feared any level of accountability for the crime that they committed in Gaza. They've not feared any ramifications for the crime that they committed in Gaza. They've effectively been prancing around the world as if they are untouchable, right? And for the first time, and I'll explain how this has come to be, but for the first time in maybe since the war started, and maybe even ever, for the first time, Israel is actually scared to be held accountable. For the first time, a country and a court system outside of the ICC, of course, but even with the ICC, you need other countries to help enforce it. But for the first time, a country stepped up and let them know, yeah, we're not about to ignore war crimes and genocide. So the Hind Rajab Foundation behind the IDF soldiers' doxing legal campaign threats explainer. Most recently, the foundation targeted soldiers vacationing in the Netherlands and the United Arab Emirates. Oh yeah, it's getting good. Yeah, I know. Y'all getting excited? Yeah, I am too. All right. The Belgian base, this is from the Jerusalem Post. I wanted to read it because I wanted y'all to read their spin to what's going down. Because the way that they spin it lets you know how fearful Israel actually is right now because of what took place here in Brazil. The Belgian-based Hind Rajab Foundation filed a complaint last week against an IDF soldier vacationing in Brazil, accusing him of participating in massive demolitions of civilian homes in Gaza during a systemic campaign of destruction. Subsequently, the Brazilian federal court ordered an investigation be opened into the soldier on account of the war crimes he allegedly committed. The HRF is one of the anti-Israel organizations that recently targeted IDF soldiers with doxing and legal campaigns, basing its allegations on footage published by the soldiers on their social media accounts. I just want to be very clear about something, guys. I understand that doxing is a charged word. Doxing is not a good thing when you are doing it like maliciously, and when you are trying to post someone's like housing address, stuff like, because that's usually what doxing actually is. They are claiming doxing is whenever these soldiers who are bragging about committing war crimes, boasting about it with a sociopathic level of apathy. They post it on social media for everybody to see, and this organization merely took the evidence gathered from the information that these soldiers put out there. That is not doxing. That's just using evidence. I don't know how else you want to call that. That's what that is. So according to its website, the organization focuses on offensive legal action against perpetrators, accomplices, and insiders of war crimes and crimes against humanity in Palestine. It also claims to prioritize awareness campaigns to challenge Israeli impunity. It's about damn time. I like it. I love it. It's about damn time. That's not an anti-Israel organization. That is a anti-war crime, anti-genocide organization that is dedicated to finally challenging you guys. That has gotten the resources to challenge you guys. And they are unafraid to challenge you. That's what that is. Most recently, the foundation targeted soldiers vacationing in the Netherlands and the United Arab Emirates. Bro, first of all, let's talk about how boss that is. You telling me y'all going after people on their vacation? Dog. I don't even know. I'm impressed, honestly, that they're even able to track people. They're like, yeah, bro, hey, my man showed up in Brazil. Go ahead and give him a call. We on his ass. To be able to track somebody to that degree as an organization that isn't like connected to any federal government, that's impressive. They're on their game, guys. They really are. So, Sparky, thank you very much for the super chat. Free Greenland from the Danish tyranny. What? Free Canada from the Castro regime. Oh, that's funny. If y'all don't get the joke, it's because everybody believes that Trudeau is the son of Fidel Castro, which honestly, if you look at the pictures and the timeline and all that stuff, it does kind of match up. And if y'all don't know, Fidel was like that. That boy got around, and then every girl like a bad boy. Spark annexed Canada. Remember the War of 1812. You funny. Let's go back to this post. It says that in November, the foundation requested the International Criminal Court to issue arrest warrants against approximately 1,000 IDF soldiers listed in a document filed to the court. The HRF claimed it had collected 8,000 pieces of evidence of the participants, the blockade in Gaza, the destruction of infrastructure, the occupation of civilian homes, looting, and targeting of civilians. According to the NGO Monitor, the foundation named after Hind Rajab, a 6-year-old girl killed in Gaza City in January of last year, was formed in September. Guys, do you understand how impressive that is? This organization was formed in September. They got 8,000 pieces of evidence, and they are out here getting countries to put out arrest warrants by January of the very next year. That's a what? September, October, November. Look, a 4-month turnaround, guys. That's a 4-month turnaround. That is not normal, even for a well-funded NGO. To be completely honest with you. So let me show you some of the stuff from the actual website from this NGO, because they are out here doing the Lord's work, and we need to show them some love. They put it out 3 days ago about the Brazilian courts. Breaking: the Brazilian courts orders police to act on Israeli war crimes suspect following an HRF complaint. Like, guys, think about how crazy. So you telling me, okay, so this man arrived on vacation in Brazil. I don't know how long he was in Brazil, but he was on vacation, so it ain't like he had been here for months. He got in Brazil, and within days, they had somehow compiled the evidence, compartmentalized it, got in touch with the proper authorities, and convinced the federal courts, which in Brazil can take forever, to pursue an arrest warrant of an Israeli, guys. Like, we know, like, this Brazilian Israelis, we're going to get into that in a second. We know Usually, federal courts be a little bit hesitant. They're a little hesitant to pursue anything when it comes to Israel. And this organization managed to do all of that in days and force this man to run. He didn't, and apparently he didn't take a plane. He had to cross a border, and they won't even say what border he crossed. He had probably Argentina, right? Because that's where Nazis go. Anyway, but yeah, he had to cross the border. He had to leave illegally after being on vacation for a few days. That is impressive. And I'm gonna tell you why it's even more impressive after I show you some more from this website. In a historic legal development, let me see if I can zoom in for you guys. Oh, that's too much. I don't know why. Hold on, my computer acting crazy. That's weird. I don't know why my computer acting crazy right now, but anyway. There we go. I'll see what happened. Anyway, so in a historic legal development, Brazilian authorities have taken decisive action on a criminal complaint filed a week ago by Henry Job Foundation against an Israeli soldier currently in Brazil on tourism. The federal court of the federal district, following the federal prosecutor's agreement, has issued an urgent order for police to investigate and take action against the suspect, marking a pivotal step in accountability for war crimes committed in Gaza. The accusations. The HRF's complaint accuses the suspect of participating in massive demolitions of civilian homes in Gaza during a systemic campaign of destruction. These acts are part of a broader effort to impose unbearable living conditions on the Palestinian civilians, constituting genocide and crimes against humanity under international law. The evidence presented includes video footage, geolocation data, and photographs showing the suspect personally planting explosives and participating in the destruction of entire neighborhoods. These materials prove beyond doubt the suspect's direct involvement in these heinous acts. This is not a case of distant command, said Mayra Pinheiro, the HRF's lead lawyer. This individual actively contributed to the destruction of homes and livelihoods, and his own statements and behavior clearly align with the genocidal objectives in Gaza. Families joined the case. The families whose homes were destroyed have joined the case as plaintiffs. They have granted power of attorney to the HRF's legal team, entrusting them to pursue justice on their behalf. Their courage in seeking legal redress demonstrates a powerful commitment to holding the suspect accountable for his actions. The plaintiffs are fighting for justice through lawful means, said the HRF chair. This case is about seeking accountability and restoring dignity to those lives that have been torn apart. The HRF's demands for arrest. The HRF called for the immediate arrest of the suspect, stressing the significant risk of flight and potential destruction of evidence. The suspect must be arrested, not merely detained and released, to ensure the integrity of the investigation and prevent him from escaping justice. The court's order, federal court citing Article 88 of Brazilian Code of Criminal Procedure, has directed the federal police to urgently execute investigative measures requested by the federal prosecutor. The HRF urges the Brazilian authorities, especially the federal police, to act swiftly and not delay executing the investigation measures ordered by the court in compliance with the court's acknowledgement of the urgency of the case. The turning point for accountability. This case marks the first instance of a signatory state to the Rome Statute directly enforcing its provisions without relying on the International Criminal Court. Read that again. This case marks the first instance of a signatory state to the Rome Statute directly enforcing its provisions without relying on the International Criminal Court. This is a historic moment, said Abu Jaja. It sets a powerful precedent for nations to take bold action in holding perpetrators accountable of war crimes, of holding perpetrators of war crimes accountable. The Henry Job Foundation commends the plaintiffs for the bravery of the Brazilian judiciary's decisive action. This case a milestone in the global pursuit of justice and accountability. Yeah, it is. I can't even begin to explain how happy that made me. Because y'all know Brazil been on some shit lately. Censoring people, corrupt elections, all that good stuff, just run-of-the-mill federal government stuff. But the fact that they helped to set this precedent made me very, very proud. And it gave me some hope for accountability, that we might actually get to see some accountability for the first time. We even better, no, not really better than accountability, but it's up there for me. The fear, like this man ran here, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because it's not just him, right? Hold up, I'm gonna see. Where's the other guy? There we go. Here, another one. From a year of impunity to a year of justice. I love it. On December 31st, 2023, Omri Nir, a soldier in the Israeli Defense Forces Combat Engineering Battalion 601, posted a photo on Instagram where he is seen posing inside a house in Gaza, a house that once belonged to a Palestinian family killed or displaced during Israel's genocide. The photo is a chilling display of impunity. It was meant to be a personal trophy of sorts, showcasing his role in the Gaza genocide. Fast forward to this year, Omri travels to Thailand to celebrate New Year's Eve once again. The world looks very different for him. The Henry Job Foundation, committed to bringing the perpetrators of war crimes to justice, has detected his presence in Thailand and acted decisively. I like this organization. They are doing more work than the International Criminal Court has done in the last 2 years. The Henry Job Foundation files cases and demands immediate arrest for Israeli war criminal Sar Hirshorin in Argentina and Chile. Targets entire 749th Combat Engineering Battalion at the ICC. Same deal. Henry Job Foundation, legal pursuit of another Israeli war criminal in Thailand. Another Israeli war criminal in Sri Lanka. Another one in France. Belgium. Amsterdam. Y'all. This isn't small. This isn't insignificant, guys. These people, I don't know how they're doing it, but because it's not just challenging. It's not merely challenging the war criminals, like, oh, they're war criminals. Hey, knock on the door. Please arrest them. That's not how this works, guys. You have to understand how the laws in each individual country work, who to get in touch with, how to expedite this because a lot of this is happening during like recess, during the holidays, as you can see. They're tracking these people. They're tracking these Israeli soldiers. And what's also crazy, the Israeli government admittedly, ladies and gentlemen, helped the Brazilian visitor, the Brazilian traveler, escape. They helped him illegally escape in the middle of an investigation. So now, in my opinion, we got a whole different problem out here in Brazil because you basically just went behind the Brazilian government's back after they made this announcement that he's got to be arrested. And you just decide, oh, we're Israel. Because the Israel consulate, they acknowledged that they were going to help get him out the country. Not help prove his innocence. Not even help get him out the country legally. Just help him escape. Well, that's illegal. You can't escape a country in the middle of an investigation. A federal investigation for international crimes. That's illegal. But the fact that he had to escape says a lot, doesn't it? Because what are we more accustomed to seeing? We're more accustomed to seeing them say, okay, yeah, I committed war crimes and I'm gonna go on vacation to Brazil. I'm gonna go on vacation to Thailand. I'm gonna go on vacation to Sri Lanka. I'm gonna travel all I want to. I'm gonna take whatever plane I want to. I'm gonna post the crimes that I've committed on social media. That's what we're accustomed to seeing. And we're accustomed to the Israeli government really cheering all that shit on. But guess what? You know what the Israeli government had to say? The Israeli government is now telling Israeli soldiers, IDF, to remove their social media. Do you know what that means? That means that they probably have already gotten wind that not only is this organization tracking everything, of course, but there are a lot of organizations tracking the crimes that are being posted on social media. That's Israel don't really care about that. There is something in the wind that has let Israel know that not only has this organization been tracking them, but they will be efficacious in their pursuit of justice and accountability against these war criminals. In other words, Israel is actually scared to be held accountable for the genocide that they've been participating in for perhaps the very first time since I've been alive, and maybe even longer than that. When have you ever heard anyone in the Israeli government, in the Israeli media, tell their war criminals all over the world, really, to hide? Since when? That doesn't happen, y'all. I mean, I don't want to be too optimistic, but like I did say 2025 is going to be a little bit different. I said, look, y'all, everything that has happened over the last few years, we're going to see the reckoning of the pure evil we've seen, really, that's taken place over the last 4 to 5 years. It's been evil a lot. And I mean, you know what I'm saying? But specifically, the last 4 to 5 years have been wild. It's like levels to the evil. And the last 4 to 5 years have been a different level of evil. So, for the first time in my lifetime, Israel is scared. Their soldiers can't travel without fear of accountability. Everyone is going to have to second guess before. Everyone who's ever posted anything. They got 8,000 pages of shit. 8,000 pages, guys. Everyone who's ever posted anything, any soldier who's ever posted anything on social media, any politician who's ever said anything on social media or in the media, they have to be careful about where they travel now. Because Brazil, shout out to Brazil. Muito obrigado, Brasil. That is like, I can't believe it, honestly, especially after everything that's happened the last couple months with Brazil. But shout out to you guys, because y'all actually showed some balls. Like, that's crazy, y'all. That's so crazy. Sparky, thank you for the super chat. Fidel may have gotten around, but just his mom, Margaret Trudeau, was legendary about getting around. That I did not know. Shout out to Joseph George, our new channel member. Appreciate you, George. Thank you very much. Oh, he gifted 20 memberships. Appreciate you. You gotta take advantage of that. But yeah, guys, that's like, we actually got some positive news for once. Like, accountability for Israel it's unheard of. And for this man to have to escape just to get out the country, this man had to do he had to bust a move, basically. He had to finesse his way out the country. And he couldn't, I thought he flew out. He didn't fly out, apparently. And they actually won't even, Israel won't say what border he crossed, even though they're the ones who helped him cross the border. They won't even say what border he crossed because they're worried that Brazil will work with their neighbors to figure out where this guy is. But as of right now, he still hasn't been able to catch a flight home. So my assumption is whatever border he crossed, even that country isn't aware that he is there. And if he tries to fly home, he might get extradited back to Brazil. Because even though their relations are a little bit weird, Argentina and Brazil have decent relations. It's a little bit weird because of their current president, but they still have like legally decent relations. They have extradition. They have an extradition relationship. Chile, same thing. Colombia, same thing. You can't just go commit a crime. Like if you're Brazilian, for example, you can't go commit a crime in any of those countries and then think like that you're not going to have to, that you can come to Brazil and they're not going to send you back. It's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a problem. This man probably, he's going to have to get through multiple countries in order for him to catch a flight back home. He might not make it, guys. And that might be the first case of true accountability. If we get this guy, if Brazil actually can get him to get extradited back to Brazil and face accountability here, the tide, that's it. The tide will turn. The tide will turn for sure. But yeah, no, I said the same thing. It's probably Argentina because, you know, it's Argentina that's known for hosting Nazis. So he got a lot of allies there. Con certeza. There's a lot of allies there. It's January 6th, everybody. And let's talk about, or rather look at a little clippy clip about the public's perception of January 6th then versus January 6th now. Because the Democrats just knew in their heart and their soul, people. They just knew in their heart and their soul that January 6th, because you got to think about it in the context of what? 4 years ago? Just about 4 years ago. Yeah, about 4 years ago. They were already running, in my humble opinion, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. If you think I'm wrong, let me know. But in my humble opinion, they knew that Trump was going to run again. And so because of how ridiculously unpopular Biden was, because of how many people merely questioned the outcome of the election. And by the way, it wasn't just because of the outcome of the presidential election. There were lawsuits all over the country for various elections. So that also made people question the outcome. And the fact that people were being attacked because they were like, hey, so can we just like get like an audit or something? Whoa, election denier, you insurrectionist, you? It's like, well, no, I just want to make sure that our elections are legitimate. That's all, you know. I did take a day to go out and spend my time and energy to go fucking cast a vote. Just want to make sure that, even if it isn't my guy, I just want to make sure that the election results are legitimate. Because that's how I see, and I would say the majority of voters actually view elections like that. Like, even if your person loses, you want to feel comfortable with knowing that they lost legitimately. Because not only is it like important just for the sanctity of democracy, but also it actually helps you properly analyze why it helps you properly analyze why that person might have lost, why your person might have lost, or why that person might have won, or why your person might have won, and the direction of the country and where we're going and what needs to be fixed. And like, there's a whole host of reasons why it's important to just make sure that the elections are legitimate. And people were getting scolded because they just wanted to make sure that the elections were legitimate. That's what happened. So January 6th, it's been about 4 years. So let's look at how the world used to see, or at least the country used to view January 6th versus now.
Views on Donald Trump and his responsibility for January 6th have changed, including how people feel he should be perceived politically. Yes?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. You know, I think if you go back, 4 years ago, right, Trump's role on January 6, 2021 should make him ineligible to be president. The clear majority of voters said yes, 56%, and that was including removal from office. But of course, Donald Trump won the presidency, and part of the reason why was because views on Trump completely shifted, including Trump's role on January 6, 2021 should make him ineligible for the presidency. By 2023, 2024, it was just 47%. So we saw this drop of about 9 points, and that, of course, is all the difference in the world, going from a majority to short of a majority. And of course, Donald Trump won the vast majority of the other 53% who did not believe that his role on January 6th would make him ineligible for the presidency.
Still a big number, but not enough.
Correct.
Right.
This 9-point shift was tremendous.
All right. Let's talk about the why behind it, Harry.
Yeah, why? All right. So part of the reason why is, okay, was Trump greatly responsible for the attack on the Capitol? You go back to January 2021, it was 48%. By the time of December of 2023, look at that. Again, a clear shift down to 37%. This is an 11-point drop, very much mirroring that drop that we saw that the folks said that, of course, would make him ineligible for the presidency. So that is part of the reason why, right? Fewer folks thought he was responsible, greatly responsible for what happened on January 6th. But it's not just that.
To be clear, he didn't really answer the question. He's just showing more statistics reflecting the conclusion that they've already showed. Why did the opinion change? We're going to talk about that in a second.
It's that people simply put didn't care as much about the attack on the Capitol. Look at this. January 6th is your biggest memory of Trump's first term in office. By the time of 2024, look at this. Look at this. It was just 5% of Americans. And among Republicans, it was just 2%. So the bottom line is fewer Americans faulted Donald Trump or thought he was greatly responsible for the January 6th attack. And more than that, as it went into the rearview mirror, far fewer folks thought that it was their number one memory.
Yeah, and this is an extraordinary number, given that President Biden, when he was still in the election, was really putting this as his main
Didn't matter.
issue. Never really was registering. All right, how about views of the results of the 2020 election this 4 years later?
Yeah, this, I think, says everything, right? Because part of the reason those folks attacked the Capitol was because they thought incorrectly that the 2020 election results, in fact, did not reflect the view of the voters. Votes were cast and counted accurately. GOP voters after a given election, just 31%. Just 31% thought that about the 2020 election. Look at this. It turns out when you win an election, far more Republicans thought that the votes were cast and counted accurately, 94%. That is a 63-point jump, John. And that, of course, is why I think today will be mostly just business as normal.
It's just business as normal and business as usual, guys. That is the conclusion that they've drawn. He asked him, why do you think that there was a swing? Ladies and gentlemen, do y'all feel like from 2021 to 2024, there was a swing that great in the culpability of January 6th, how people feel about January 6th, the cause of January 6th? Like, y'all think it just swung because people just one day decided, you know what? Maybe January 6th wasn't that bad. Maybe Trump would. No, that's not what it was. That was not what it was. The reason why is because of independent media. The reason why is because of social media. Because information, like through the January 6th hearings even, started coming out. Videos, footage started coming out. Testimonies started coming out that was not matching the narrative that was being put out by the mainstream media. For example, there were a lot of people. I know that maybe because y'all watch my show or y'all watch other shows, y'all saw the footage immediately of the police quite literally rolling out the red carpet for people to walk in. Right? Literally people to walk in the Capitol. That's not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. Motherfuckers opened the gate and let them in. A lot of people didn't see that footage until years later. Because of social media, it eventually got out there. There was footage. I don't know if y'all know So I was demonetized and actually suspended from YouTube because of covering January 6th, like literally just covering it. I think I even showed mainstream media footage, and like it got me temporarily banned and then demonetized from YouTube. So after some lawsuit, at least there was a threat of a lawsuit regarding both the elections and January 6th, they stopped demonetizing people. They changed the agreement that they had with the creators that prevented them from talking about the January 6th or the elections. And then the clips started coming out, right? Clips started coming out, and people started to see what actually was happening. They saw police beating the shit out of people. Even people who were nowhere near the Capitol. They saw the clip where Donald Trump actually told people, go home. Where he told people to respect the police. Yeah, that's debatable. But whatever, he told people to do that. In other words, all of the ways that they accused Trump of being guilty of inciting the violence on January 6th, it got exposed as lies. Like, oh, he never said any of that shit. Why are y'all acting like it was his fault then? The Ashley Babbitt situation, I think, actually affected it to some degree as well, because she shouldn't have been killed. That officer was allegedly part of Pence's security team. He shouldn't even have been in that area. There was no reason for him to shoot anybody. He shot him anyway. He shot her anyway and got off. Liberals are all of a sudden cheering on cops. That's just what liberals do. They just conveniently cheer on cops when it's convenient for their arguments against conservatives. But the reality is Ashley Babbitt did not deserve to die. She was no physical threat to that guy. And breaking and entering is not to be met with an execution. Like breaking it, like a trespass, not even trespassing, because it couldn't be breaking and entering because the cops let him in. So trespassing, even if you want to call it that is not a reasonable punishment. Execution is not a reasonable punishment for that. So as more information started coming out, and then YouTube was forced to loosen up the reins on what they were allowed to censor. And then X obviously played its role. Rumble played its role. The debates that started happening regarding January 6th, everything got exposed. And people were like, oh shit, the mainstream media is full of shit again. That's basically what happened. Because they asked during that clip about the swing, like, well, why do you think the swing happened? And they just showed another clip of a large swing happening in opinion. Like, you don't want to actually ask why? The truth came out. Y'all couldn't censor as much. The mainstream media couldn't censor as much. And the belief in the legitimacy of the mainstream media was faltering, as you all know. And people were learning the truth and thinking for themselves, which is why it was also, and there was like historically low turnouts in the elections. Right? Because like I always said, like it's not as many people that love Donald Trump as much as there's people that hate the Democratic Party and hate the system. And that manifested in various ways that ended up leading to Donald Trump winning. You get what I'm saying, y'all? So look, I mean, it's stuff like this. Let's y'all remember this? Hold up. We gotta show this. Y'all remember the AOC, y'all? So this is the rioters breaching the building. This is where they were at. This is AOC's office, and she wasn't there. Just want everybody to be clear about that. She actually wasn't there, and I know because I was personally there the day before, and my team was there the day of. She wasn't there. They were.
I didn't think that I was just going. I didn't think that I was just going to be killed. I thought other things were going to happen to me as well.
So what sounds like what you're telling me right now is that you didn't only think that you were going to die, you thought you were going to be raped.
Yeah. I thought I was.
No, that's a serious accusation. And that's an emotional play she probably shouldn't have ever made. Because once again, all it took was for people to do a little research. And like I said, and because there was a lot of people there, there was a lot of independent journalists there doing their job. So whenever she started saying that, a lot of us, some red flags went up and we're like, hold up, bro, I remember that troop from AOC's office to the Capitol was not small. Like, it won't no like short trip. AOC's office, the Capitol building, AOC's office, Capitol building. They were not in session, obviously. And they likely, once again, for those of you who don't know, the reason that they probably weren't in session that particular day was because the entire world knew that Trump was throwing that rally that day. Anybody who was in DC up until that day, because I was there for, I think, from the 2nd through the 5th, they were talking about it on the radio. The Metro Police were preparing for it, allegedly. The FBI knew about it. We know this. Nancy Pelosi knew about it. She admitted it. The DC Metro Police chief stepped down because of the lack of the response, despite the fact that actually he himself, from what we saw, because we were there protesting for the Force the Vote movement. We were there protesting, right? We were getting the police was on our ass because of just the mobilization and the awareness they had for what was coming the next day. Okay? So that's why Congress was not in session. And if they had been in session, if there were Congress people actually in the Capitol that day, it would have been because they wanted the reaction, the emotional reaction of, oh my God, our lives were threatened. This is an insurrection. They were trying to kill us, et cetera, et cetera. So but they weren't there because you can't predict everybody. You can't predict what everybody's going to do. So even though, there weren't a bunch of gun-toting Second Amendment maniacs there, you would think there would be during a legitimate insurrection, you still can't predict everybody. So of course you're not going to have Congress people in the Capitol on a day where there could be a riot. It's just it's not safe. It's not smart. But AOC, this is the shit that gets people pissed. This is why people don't take Democrats seriously. And I was in I forgot what I was gonna say. Hold on, let me read the super chat and I'll probably remember afterwards. Hold on. Sparky, thank you for the super chat. Javier, a total Zionist and globalist, so he's likely looking after those IVS. So, oh yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know because he's not that popular. He could be trying to, but you never know, right? You never know in a situation as unstable as Brazil because there's a lot of Zionists within the Brazilian government. Or excuse me, you don't know in a situation as like the one that's in Argentina because it's so unstable. Politically, economically, you don't know. But in Brazil, I kind of was like, he's not going to get in trouble because there's a bunch of Zionists in the Brazilian government. People don't know that. But yeah, there are a bunch of Brazilian Israelis. There's also a bunch of Brazilian Israelis. So I thought that it was going to let it slide. But they got word that it was not going to go down like that. Like I said, 2025 a surprise. Justin Trudeau stepping down, guys, because of a leftist coalition telling him, fuck you, we're not putting up with your shit anymore. I don't know what's going on in 2025, but I like it so far. Except for the terrorist tax, which we're going to talk about in a second. Right after January 6, 2021, I pointed out to you that it was chock full of agent provocateurs, but you said I was mad. No, I never said that. No, I never said that because I was like, there's a bunch of FBI people there. I was literally pointing them out in the video. You might be talking about somebody else. Because I actually, whenever I used to work for RT, I was there on not an anniversary of January 6th, but basically it was a leftist organization that had worked with some January 6th advocates that were actually trying to bring attention to the people who had been arrested, who were not being charged with anything and hadn't been arraigned. So they were being held illegally. And so these anti-private prison groups, justice system reform groups were working together with January 6th people to get them free, right? So at that event, there were FBI agents. Well, I don't know if they're FBI agents, but they were feds, basically. And I recorded them. And it's funny because I think the recording went viral or something like that. But I was out here trying to act super casual as they were standing in a circle wearing Oakleys and trucker hats and cargo pants. I'm like, if you undercover, why you coming to work in a uniform, my guy? Y'all don't own any other clothes? That's what's kind of weird about it. I guess they really don't be owning any other clothes. That might be the answer to that question. Because whenever feds come out and do fed shit, thinking that they're being slick, it's so obvious. It's like, I'm gonna wear my Oakleys. I'm gonna wear my Oakleys and my cargo pants, and I'm gonna wear combat boots on a casual day in the park during a protest because that's perfectly normal for activists. No, it's not. It's not normal for anyone to wear combat boots anywhere except for feds. Just to let y'all know for future reference. Stop looking so obvious, like so obviously like feds. It's kind of annoying that you're insulting our intelligence like that all the time. But yeah, I remember recording them, and I think I even asked. I'm like, "Yo, man, so like, how much are I paying y'all to be here?" Because it was so obvious that they were feds. Man, like I said, I feel like there was this attempt to use January 6th to have people to scare people from talking about election integrity, right? That's important. That is important to remember that there was a clear attempt by the people who are in power to have us blindly trust the outcome of the election, which you should never do. I don't care who wins. Never blind, because other country, legitimate country. You think Bolivia does that? You think Argentina does? Excuse me, not Argentina. Venezuela does that? No, Venezuela doesn't do that. Bolivia doesn't do that. Russia doesn't do that. Iran doesn't. They have auditing systems. In other words, it's an automatic verification system. Because everyone should feel confident that even if my guy didn't win, at least I know my elections are legitimate. So if I want to, there are steps I can take to advocate on behalf of the policies and the candidates that I support so that they can win and actually have a legitimate chance. But no, instead they use January 6th to scare anyone from questioning the outcome of the elections, to scare anyone from talking about election integrity, generally speaking, not even in reference to Trump. Generally speaking, they use January 6th to convince people that Trump lost in courts, and if there was any legitimate claim to a potential infraction when it comes to election integrity, like, oh no, like all the courts denied it. So no, that's not what happened. Courts were literally denying audits because the systems are owned by private companies. They didn't want to talk about that part though. Like you have to go to court for an audit because the electronic voting systems are owned by private companies and not the public who is using those systems to vote for potential presidents, congresspeople, etc., that are running for public office. They didn't want to talk about that because that in and of itself is an inherent flaw in our alleged democracy. But they use January 6th to scare people from talking about that or even questioning it. They use it to campaign. I mean, if that is not the definition of a banana republic, using the power that you have while you're in government, while you're about to take over government, to basically shut down any opposition, to shut down anyone from questioning the legitimacy of your victory, like that's a banana republic, guys. I don't know what to tell you. It is. And we haven't resolved our election integrity issue. I don't care if Donald Trump won. We haven't resolved that issue. Yeah, the Democrats are, unfortunately, they're in the middle of a chaotic situation. So they did not have the coordination to pull off something that they have been accused of pulling off of doing, something that they were accused of pulling off in 2020. Like, okay, that's not the same thing as having secure elections. You get what I'm saying, guys? We need to make sure that we have secure elections, period. It isn't time to look away from all of the problems we've had with election integrity and still have with election integrity just because your guy won this time. And I'm just happy that after this kind of lets you know to some degree that American people, the American public, they aren't that stupid. They are redeemable. They can learn and change their mind once they are actually allowed to be introduced new information. The thing is, they have to be allowed to see the new information. Because there is, like that video said, a lot of people blame half the country, according to that survey, blame Trump for January 6th. Then out of nowhere, no one blamed him. Half the country thought January 6th was a big issue, big deal. Then out of nowhere, no one cared. That's introduction to new information and changing your opinion after the new information was introduced. That's why it's so important to be against censorship. But it should give us a little bit of hope and also re-emphasize the importance of independent media and honest actors. because God knows where we will be at right now. Like y'all know how I feel about Trump. I'm not a fan, but I also I am more fearful and would have been more fearful of a Kamala presidency for various reasons. I've gone over and over again. Various reasons, including the fact that like if I'm like, damn, you telling me this president can actively commit a genocide, or this vice president can be part of and continue to support an active genocide, and like she gets rewarded with a victory, that's terrifying. That's a terrifying outcome. That would be bleak for our future. You get what I'm saying? Like, so the fact that people got new information, they change their opinions based on that new information, gives me some hope going forward. 2025 is different, y'all. 2025 is different. I don't know what it is. The energy is different out here, man. People just, they're tired of the bullshit. We're going to talk about the Cybertruck attack, the New Orleans attack. Joseph George, thank you very much for the super chat. We know 100% that they rigged the primaries. Exactly. Hell, the Democrats, they know they rigged the primaries. Which primary you want to talk about? You want to go back to Henry Wallace? You want to talk about the primary they rigged against Jesse Jackson, which people don't even know happened? Yeah, that happened too. The Democrats rigged the primary against Jesse Jackson. People don't even know about that shit happening. You want to go back to, obviously, Bernie Sanders. You want to go back to Bernie told, like, I guess you might be hard pressed to figure out a primary that they didn't rig if we go back far enough and actually did our research. But the one from 2016 specifically, they came out and was like, our bad. Yep, we definitely rigged it. Let's go on a whole tour to apologize for the rigging that we did. And then have the audacity to come out in 2020 and be like, how dare you suggest that our election system is not completely and totally legitimate and ironclad? Motherfucker, because y'all just went on a whole tour apologizing for rigging the elections like 2 years ago. What you mean? Of course it's not legitimate. You just admitted it wasn't legitimate. Yeah, but that was 2 years ago. Why are we talking about that still? That's in the past. The ultimate levels of gaslighting, bro. For real. Sparky, Biden had corn pop. Trump has corn flake. As in general, Kellogg corn flake. Basically, it's the same shit. Same thing. So let's talk about this Cybertruck situation. Like I said, I'm gonna do a video maybe tomorrow, actually, going into a little bit more details about this stuff because it's a rabbit hole. But I do want to give my general opinion about it because I'm sure a lot of people have been curious to what I think about it. So many of you all know that the guy who committed the Tesla truck attack, the Cybertruck attack in Las Vegas, he is a white guy who was in the military, who was born in the U.S. Okay. The guy who committed the attack in New Orleans, specifically, he actually, Fiorella did a fantastic thread about this. Let me see if I can find Fiorella's thread. We're gonna start at the top. So I'm gonna let him tell it, excuse me. These psyops, they're getting lazy with these psyops, y'all.
I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist in IT.
First of all, that guy, now that boy ain't just born and raised in America. That is a Texas man. That man's accent is Beaumont, Texas for real. If you've ever listened to anybody from Beaumont, Texas, that's exactly how they talk. So it ain't like he just like, I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and I'm like, that's like fully assimilated Beaumont, Texas right there. That's all I've ever known, Beaumont, Texas. Okay. So he's an American, effectively. And he has military experience. So this is what she's referring to. Shortly after 3 a.m. on January 1st, 2025, in New Orleans, Louisiana, Jabbar deliberately drove a white pickup truck at high speed into a crowded Bourbon Street in New Orleans, French Quarter. 42-year-old may not have acted alone. Police are IDing the potential suspects. Weird how quickly this was labeled a terrorist attack by ISIS without evidence to back it up. In a moment when the Trump administration, full of raging Zionists, is coming in, Republicans are salivating to go to war with Iran, and there are several other bizarre attacks. Coincidence? No. And that's basically how I feel about it. Let me see if I can find the tweet about Trump, or from Trump, excuse me, regarding the attacks that took place, 3 days straight? It was 3 days straight where there was an attack of some kind. Oh no, because I couldn't believe it. I guess I could believe it. It's Trump, but oh no, he don't tweet from his personal account anymore. Here we go. This is Trump's tweet. Our country is a disaster, a laughingstock all over the world. Yeah, that's true. Probably not for the reasons that he thinks. This is what happens when you have open borders in big old capital letters with weak, ineffective, and virtually non-existent leadership. The DOJ, the FBI, and the Democratic state and local prosecutors have not done their job. They're incompetent and corrupt, having spent all their waking hours unlawfully attacking their political opponent, me, rather than focusing on protecting Americans from the outside and inside violent scum that have infiltrated all aspects of our government and our nation itself. Democrats should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this to happen to our Y'all got Congress, my guy. And most of the governors around the country are Republican. I don't know if y'all know that. Yeah, and still are. Actually, I think Republicans won another seat. The CIA must get involved. The CIA must get involved. What? Now, before it's too late. The USA is breaking down. A violent erosion of safety, national security, and democracy is taking place all across our nation. Only strength and powerful leadership will stop it. See you on January 20th. Make America great again. Boy, what in the actual fuck is that tweet? Where do we even start, ladies and gentlemen? Open borders? I just explained to y'all that at least the two attacks that have gotten the most attention, one was committed by ex-special forces who was stationed in Fort Bragg. Okay. White guy. All right. Weird how he didn't mention nothing about that. Super bizarre, huh? Interesting. Okay. Then the second, the New Orleans attack, which I guess, I don't remember. I think the New Orleans came first, actually, I think. So the New Orleans attack happened, and that was an American born in not Beaumont, Texas, with the whole accent like that is all he's ever known outside of his also strange military experience within the United States military. Now, because once again, like I said, he ain't like, I moved here and I happen to live in Texas, because there are a lot of Arab and Desi Americans that moved to Texas. No. I was born and raised in Beaumont. Okay, you are American, my guy. Where the fuck is Donald Trump getting open borders? Huh? Someone explain it to me. Open borders in capital letters. And where are people getting ISIS from? And where are people getting, like, why is this Islamophobia on social media that ramped up out of nowhere? Why is Fox News talking about war with Syria, war with Iran, Muslims, culture? Is there, huh? Where do we get that? How did we end up there? And then shortly after, which we're gonna get more into when I actually do the deep dive into this tomorrow, but y'all gonna tell me shortly after the information drops that the Cybertruck bomber was ex-special forces, all of a sudden was part of a reality TV show before, which is a whole different story. Shortly after that information drops, then a magic interview comes out with that guy. I think his name was Sean Ryan. A magical interview just happened to come out. And this guy just happens to have a manifesto that was put in an email, and the FBI has confirmed it an hour later. And he's blaming all of he's blaming this attack in his manifesto on his military experience, on the things that he saw overseas. And the FBI has already confirmed it in 1 hour. The same FBI that managed to somehow stop an attack on AIPAC in Florida that was never really a threat, but whatever. They made sure to let everybody know that they did that. But y'all let somebody shoot up, 12, 15 people in Queens, let another person run through a crowd in Louisiana. Then y'all let another ex-Special Forces guy blow up a Cybertruck in a hotel who allegedly had a whole email as a manifesto that he had already put together, which I should have already been able to track. What? Guys, none of this makes any sense. None of it. Like y'all can confirm an email in an hour. Why didn't y'all confirm an email, but y'all couldn't find it? Bro, the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, all of them. You can't take a shower without them looking at your chub. You can't FaceTime. Yo, baby, you can't FaceTime your little lovey-dovey. Y'all be out there doing your little phone thing. They looking at that. All the nasty things that you're doing when you think they ain't looking, they see all of it. They heard all of it. They seen every text. We know that. But y'all didn't see this manifesto that was sent via email, but y'all managed to confirm it an hour after this random guy, who was clearly a CIA cutout, somehow obtains this magical information hours after everyone in the world finds out, oh shit, this man's ex-military and was part of a reality TV show. Come on, man. Oh, it's like, why do y'all keep it so in our intelligence like this? Sparky, maybe Las Vegas guy was just doing a mini fireworks demo to call attention to his issues, but the Tesla had one of those recalled airbags and set it off prematurely. Nah, I'm gonna be honest with you. One of my theories, like what part of the reason I feel like he did the use Cybertruck, like I'm not gonna cap. I feel like it was like a marketing scheme. I feel like it was like a PR stunt, basically, because I don't know if y'all know, but Cybertrucks have had to like stop or slow down production because they're just not selling. And then out of nowhere, like this is like a recent article I read, and out of nowhere this happens. Like with a Cybertruck. So my thing is, if you're going to blame your military experience, which does traumatize people, if you're going to blame that experience as the reason that you committed a terrorist attack, why did you wait 4 years? Why didn't you do it under the Biden administration? And why did you only target Trump? But is Biden not one of the biggest warmongers in like the history of all of history? Has that changed at some point? I don't think so. So like your trauma just came to an impasse, like you just couldn't take it anymore the moment you found Trump won? Like, not for nothing, but Trump didn't start the war in Afghanistan that he probably was deployed to. Trump didn't start the war in Iraq that he was probably wasn't. It was Biden who was one of the head. Like he was one of the guys who was pushing for both of those wars. Everywhere that this guy has probably fought in during his time in special forces, Biden was probably one of the masterminds behind the wars and the conflicts. So why is it that when Trump wins, oh, now I am affected by my trauma of war and I'm going to attack Donald Trump and I'm going to email a manifesto, which is a whole different conversation. And then immediately, like clockwork, it's super strange. All of the conservatives, the anti-Muslim, Islamophobic, pro-war hawk conservative, it all goes straight to open borders, war with Iran and Syria, and blaming foreigners for our problems. The foreigners didn't call it. Like, do y'all understand how wild it is? Because so there are people that will tell me every now and then, and they'll say about almost any foreign country you go to in Latin America, you'll hear, we gotta be careful. It can be dangerous, right? Gotta be careful. Don't move there. It can be dangerous. Careful how you move. It can be dangerous. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Y'all know I've been living in Brazil about 2 years, a little bit more or less, like at least physically in Brazil for at least 2 years. You know what I've never heard about? 15 people getting killed at once by one guy. You know what I've never heard about? 30, 40 kids getting shot up in one school. You know, I've never heard about fucking Cybertruck getting blown up outside of a hotel by an ex-military. You know, I've never heard about fucking plane crashing into a building because you don't mind your own fucking, you don't mind your business as a country. And I damn sure didn't hear about the president knowing about it before it happened and not doing anything about it. I haven't heard about a club getting shot up in Orlando. Kids getting shot up in Uvalde, Texas. FBI having knowledge, their federal government having knowledge, Brazilian federal government having knowledge of potential mass shootings and doing nothing about it. So, like, where is it? Who got the culture problem, guys? Who actually has a culture problem? Yeah, do they got like random robberies that happen here? Yeah, they have that in the U.S. too. Did y'all forget? Do they have homeless in Brazil? Yeah, they have. Hell, it's different. It's worse in the U.S. You got gainfully employed homeless people. These motherfuckers got jobs and are homeless. What's the U.S.'s excuse for allowing that to happen? So when we talk about danger and what is dangerous, like what countries are dangerous, like, yeah, you could take measures, you could take reasonable measures in almost any other countries you go to. Almost, not every country, but most countries. You can take reasonable measures to protect yourself, and sometimes shit happens. But the shit that would happen is the kind of shit that would happen in the U.S. anyway. But you know what you don't worry about? Getting shot in a group full of people because you decide to go see a movie. That does not happen. And nor do you have to think to yourself while it's happening, damn, can my government have been involved in this? Can my government have been part of this for real? Now that I'm reading about it, now that I'm looking at this pattern here, that's the shit that kills me. When people tell me how crazy, like, yeah, man, it's a little bit dangerous out there in Brazil, isn't it? I'm like, well, we didn't have 3 terrorist attacks in 3 days, so not as dangerous as where y'all at. We have Brazil has what I would like to refer to as normal crime. Poor people committing poor people crimes. Y'all got government-backed, could have been prevented, but probably was encouraged crimes where dozens of people get killed at once. Not once, not twice, like over the course of days. Do you understand how insane that is? You don't even know if you could go somewhere because shit, man, I hope I'm not at this random place where the government might be conspiring to commit a terrorist attack just by going to war with another country and solidifying the police state. That's insane, guys. We're living in insane times. But what I am happy about, once again, is why it's so important that the government or that the people have access to information, because what I am happy about is how many people are not buying the bullshit anymore. They immediately identified it. Immediately, to the point where the government had tried to react so quick. Trump tried to react quick. Elon tried to react quick. The pro-CIA, pro-FBI, pro-intelligence community wing, the right wing, the hawk wing, like all of them had to react so fast that none of their fucking responses were coordinated, nor did they make sense, which made people do even more research and made them even more skeptical. That I love to see. That I love to see. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me make sure that don't have any more super chats. I got one more. Thank you very much, Sparky. One thing that we can conclude from the New Year's attack is all people who drive electric cars are terror. Y'all did not hear that, YouTube. That's not true. He was joking, y'all. Don't ban me, please. But hey, look, don't buy Elon's cars, boy. It just be exploding and all kinds of shit. With that being said, thank you all so much for tuning into the live stream segment of For the People podcast. Don't forget to like this video, share this video. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you resubscribe if you got kicked off, because they're unsubscribing a bunch of people for no reason, like out of nowhere. I guess I'm not the only channel that's experienced it. But just make sure that you are still subscribed. You can support the channel through Patreon, obviously super chats. You can also support us through becoming a channel member. You know, everything to help keep us afloat. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.